This tutorial we're going to cover setting up or creating the settings that you need to set up email within Portal Pro. And this will be so you can email things like estimates, invoices, or door and hardware schedules, things like that. And to do that, you'll come under the administration and then under manage users, so you would need admin rights to get to this. And then you're going to select the user that you want to set up the email settings for. You can see over here on the right we have the place for an email address, SMTP and port, and a couple check boxes here. We'll go over that in just a second. So first you'll select the user. I'll select mine. And first thing you want to do is in the email address box, put the email address of the email of your email program, of where you're going to be sending the email from. And then the SMTP and port, you may have to look these up for your particular email provider. They are different. This email address that I'm using here is a live, or it's also Outlook email address. So it uses this smtp.office365.com as an SMTP server. You'll have to, again, you might have to look these up for whoever your provider is. If you have any trouble with this, just give their office a call and we'll help you out. Now, one email provider that's rather difficult to set up is Gmail. So if you're trying to send from a Gmail account, we're not going to cover this. There may be a way you can get around this, but with Gmail, they're very strict. You have to go in and tell your email account that you want to use less secure apps. Another thing that you may have to set up is two-factor authentication. And then they have a thing for apps where you get a specific password for certain apps. And that password is what you would have to use to enter if you wanted to allow it to access your Outlook. So it is kind of convoluted, and you're welcome to try to set this up on your own, but we're not going to cover it here. We're not going to go over anything with Gmail. And there may be some other accounts. Of course, we cannot check every single email provider out there. But just do what you can. I know it works with Live. That's one that may work. Your company may have an email address that it uses, so that may work with that. So anyway, like I said, you'll have to find out what the SMTP server is and the port. Now typically there are two port numbers, 465 I believe and 587, which would go right in here. 587 I believe is the preferred port if you're going to be using attachments. And since in Portal Pro you will be attaching an estimate or whatever it might be, you'll probably want to try 587 first. And next thing you want to do is find out whether or not your email provider requires SSL or if they use the Start TLS. Whichever one it is, just check the box. Now you can test this email to see if it's working by clicking this button here. And that'll open up this box. And what we can do is you're going to select first a PDF. Any PDF that's on your PC at this point. Just open up Select. Run box will pop up. Go to some folder you might have on your PC where you have PDF stored. It doesn't matter if you can use anything. It doesn't matter as long as it's not too large. Email has typically a limitation of around 10 megs, I think. So any kind of an attachment that's larger than that may not go through. So typically PDFs are pretty small. Like this one here is 73 kilobytes. So I'm just going to grab one. Let's double click it. And you see it puts the path to that PDF file in this box right here. Now next you want to put in a send to email. Now this is going to be an email address that you want to test with. So if you have a second email account, for example, I do have a Gmail account I can send to. It will work that way. So I'll put that in. And then the send to user's name. So that will be me. And then this password will be the password that you typically use to get into your email account up here. So we'll type that in. Okay. Now you will have to make sure one of these two boxes are checked first before you do anything. So I'll show you what happens if we'll try this one first. Let's use SSL. And once I have everything filled in, I just click send email. And right away I get an error message pops up that I won't read the whole thing, but apparently this SSL is not working. So we'll just say OK to that. And what I'll do is I'll change it to this. Now I'll show you something else too that might happen if you have a wrong port number, or the port number is blank. Let's put 0 in here. If I click send email, what's going to happen is it just kind of goes off into la la land. What it's doing is it's attempting to make a connection based on the settings you put in, but because it doesn't recognize the port. And the problem with this is it's going to take several minutes before it actually times out. So instead of sitting here making up a conversation for the next 3 or 4 minutes, I'm just going to put this on pause until this finishes, and we'll show you what pops up. Okay, finally timed out. So you'll get a message like this as the operation is timed out. So just say OK, and then try to figure out what the problem is. So let's put this back to 587, and this time we're going to use start TLS. Okay, so now we'll try it again. Click send email, and you see now the hourglass went away pretty quick. So at this point you want to pull up your email. And there we go. You can see there's the message there. So it did send the email that these settings did work. And you see the invoice is attached. Alright, so that's pretty much it as far as now once you get your settings set to where it works, everything's working fine. Again, this isn't a second email address that you can test with. It could be somebody else's address within your company. It doesn't matter. This is all just testing. So none of these settings here are going to be saved. So we can close out of this, and then once again everything worked, you want to make sure you click save. It'll save these settings right here. It's not going to save anything else that was entered in this field, in these fields. So we'll click save, and that way anytime you try to send email, it's going to use these settings within Portal Pro to send your email. Now just keep in mind, if you're sending customers, estimates or invoices or whatever, when you pull up your customers, you'll have to enter the email address that you want to use. So if we pull up a customer here, you can see down here there's a field for invoice email and the person's name. I think in the estimates it may use the email addresses you put in down here for any contacts. So like this Larry Smith guy, if I double click that, yeah, it's using my email. I put this in here for testing purposes because I don't really want to send this guy anything, so I'm not going to use his real email address. But in your program, you will set up the actual email address that's needed. Again, this will be used for emails. This email address will be used for estimates. And then we have under vendors and manufacturers, there's also a place for an email if you want to send a purchase order within Portal Pro. And that's right down here. Email quote name and email for vendor quotes. Okay, so that should pretty well cover it. If you have any questions on how to use this, setting up this email, give us a call. Again, certain email addresses it may not work for. And if it doesn't, then just keep in mind whenever you create an invoice, for example, if we exported some invoices out of here, for example, let's say the email portion of this doesn't work, which is this section right here. You can still create, when you create this customer copy of an invoice or purchase order or whatever, those copies will be saved in the documents under, you have Portal Pro statements, schedules, invoices, estimates. So these are the copies that are created. So you can always attach these to an email within your email program. So it's kind of takes out that simple one-click step, but at least you can still send these documents out whenever needed through email. All right, so if you have any questions on any of this, please give us a call or email. We'll be more than happy to help you out. Thanks and have a great day.